3, 2, 1.
My name is Nick. I'm a full-time trader and entrepreneur. We put out tons of stuff for free for traders. These are real trades. This is real money. I'm putting my money on the line. This is going to be a live trading video here, locking in over $1,000 on this trade. Wow, I'd love to get in on this. Technical insights that really look good to me. There we go. We're live. Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to the stream. Thanks for being here. Today is, what is today? Today is Tuesday. How's everybody doing on Tuesday? Thank you for showing up and being back a part of the show. We got a good number of people already in the chat hanging out. So good morning to my friends there. Hey, Dade, Travis, Thindis, Lucky, Trey, Sudalai, Sean, Dinesh, Andrew. What's up, you guys? Thank you for being here. Thomas, good to see some of the people who are here early. It's always cool to see who shows up kind of early to the streams and is in here waiting. So, because those are the people I know that usually come back every time. Because if you're here, waiting for it, then you sort of made plans to be here. So I do appreciate you being here and showing up. So, got some stuff to talk about. The Canadian dollar's coming down hard today. We've got some other ones moving interesting. We've got the currency heat map pulled up here. If you don't know what that is, it is basically just a reading as to sort of the temperature in the room of the foreign exchange market across the 8 major currencies. I'll zoom in just a little bit here. So the idea here is that we are looking at this thing and we're seeing, okay, well, you've sort of got some green down here. You've got some red right there, and a little bit of everything in between somewhere around the rest of the room. So the big ones here, what you can tell is that you've got the Canadian dollar weak today. So the Canadian dollar is losing value, especially against things like the yen, the pound, the Swiss franc, and the Aussie, as well as the New Zealand. And then, you've got the NZD here, which is the New Zealand dollar, sometimes called the Kiwi dollar, moving really strong here against a lot of the other currencies. On top of that, you do have seemingly a nice little rebound there for the Swiss franc and a strong day for the pound as well. So kind of cool. We'll take a look at some of these individually and see what we can come up with in terms of trade setups and ideas. From what I could tell, gold was not moving too much, but we may get to that one, of course, and talk about the gold market as well. Before I get into it, comment down below where you guys from. It's always cool to see where people are from around the world. Sammy says he's from Kenya, so cool to see that. People literally come to watch these streams from around the world. It's really, really cool. So shout out to all my friends who are all over the globe. So we got some stuff to talk about. Again, the Canadian dollar really taking a dip here. We may see, actually, what was there any news today that was impacting to the Canadian dollar? Let's see. So it doesn't seem like we had anything. We may have had some news for oil or something like that. So perhaps we can look into that. So today is Tuesday. We have the NZD employment numbers coming out later today, or I guess if you're over there in the Pacific, I guess that would be more like tomorrow for you. But so over here, that is 6:45 p.m. Eastern. We do have some information coming out from New Zealand regarding employment that could definitely be market moving. Tomorrow, you have some U.S. dollar news, and then big news on Thursday for the UK as we have the Bank of England discussing their monetary policy decisions. Definitely has potential to impact the market dramatically. And then finally on Friday, you have the big NFP or non-farm employment change, which is basically unemployment here in the US. So lots of interesting stuff coming out, lots of red folders. You can see lots and lots of stuff on the radar here for the week. So the markets are probably set to keep moving around quite a bit. So again, going into today, we have a strong NZD, which is especially interesting considering, we have a strong NZD ahead of their employment numbers, which are coming out later on today. So perhaps we'll take a look at some of the NZD crosses to see what is going on there. Quick shout out to all the people from around the world. We've got people from Ghana, Philippines, South Africa, Mexico, London, Algeria, Malaysia, Queenstown, Singapore, Germany, from the flat earth. The Middle East, Kerala. Awesome. Well, shout out to all you guys. Thanks for being here. So let's jump into some charts. Let's see what's going on and if we could figure out anything. So the dollar here is where I wanted to start, as we often do. So the dollar still kind of pushing lower, still showing that weakness. We had a little bit of a pop there earlier on. We saw a little bit of a move up, but then have been fading that move since. It does seem like the sentiment here for the dollar has shifted a little bit to the bearish side, which is definitely sort of in line with my thoughts as well. And I'm sort of short-term bearish ever since we sort of tagged this level here at 93. We came up to that region, and then we found a lot of sell pressure, have been seeing a series of lower highs and lower lows here, right? So I've been sort of seeing that pattern. I would anticipate that if this does continue, that the dollar could set in a lower low here, maybe even retesting somewhere like 91.6, which if we scroll out a little bit, you've got some pretty significant support there. So if you are watching this, I would keep an eye on, this level here. If you're a bear or a bull, keep an eye on that. If we do see a one push lower, right? We've been forming those lower lows. If we do see another lower low, to keep an eye there on 91.6. So, where do we go with the dollar? I'm sort of fairly bearish on the USD right now. The reason for that being, from the Fed, we had, we've talked about rate hikes, we've talked about tapering a little bit, but from the Fed's standpoint, what we're seeing is that they are, sort of not wanting to use the tools that they can to combat inflation as hard as some people would like them to. For example, this concept of tapering, right? For those of you guys who do not know what this is, for those of you guys who may not be familiar with the concept of tapering or even anything about central banks, tapering is the idea of, when people talk about printing money or creating stimulus. Ooh, let me fix my camera. This idea of using stimulus to sort of help to keep the economy going is something that a lot of central banks have been doing, especially since the financial crisis. We've seen a lot of tapering, or not tapering, sorry. We've seen a lot of quantitative easing or printing of money, right, to sort of stimulate the economy. This concept of tapering is something where we see, trying to pull back on that, because you can only print so much money theoretically. It seems like it's limitless, but that's the idea, is slowing the printing press to hopefully combat inflation. Because when you print a lot of your money, what does it do? It causes the value of that currency to go down, which can actually hurt consumers, in the longer term. So this idea of tapering is something that a lot of people are putting pressure on the Fed to discuss. Hey, can we stop printing so much money? Inflation is running crazy. We're up at 5.5%. And then the Fed comes back and says, basically, yeah, we're not looking to taper yet. We're looking to hold off on that because we think that this inflation is transitory and it is not a permanent problem. Then you have people who think, well, it could continue to be a problem. And then you also have the Fed even saying, yeah, we also kind of think, from Jerome Powell's latest speech last week, inflation could actually continue to go up in the short term. So these couple things, tied together. Oh, and then also rate hikes, I'm going to do RH, are sort of far away. Okay. And all of this to say, you have high inflation, right? Inflation is on the rise. You have an unwillingness to taper back on stimulus for now, hesitation there. And then you have rate hikes that are far away. All of that to say, the US dollar looks pretty weak to me. It looks pretty undesirable in terms of a fundamental analysis perspective, which a lot of you guys on YouTube, I'm not faulting you guys because I totally have been there and done that too. I trade only using technical analysis, only using what the chart is saying. And there's nothing, per se wrong with that. If that works for you, then go for it. But for me, having that understanding, told me to be more bearish on the dollar back here, not down here once the technicals have lined up. Sometimes there's opportunities, in my view, to trade the fundamentals before the technicals tell you. So that could even give you that sort of added decision-making, factors that could get you short on something that's going down sooner, or get you long in something that's going up sooner, right? So understanding the fundamentals to me is really key. There's my fundamental breakdown on the dollar in the most simple form that I can give to. So I am sort of bearish on the dollar at this point for now. That can change if we see something different from the Fed. But with that said, we'll jump into some of the individual USD currency crosses to see what we can come up with. So here's the euro dollar. The euro dollar still finding a little bit of a push to the upside. Not my favorite pair personally right now, just because, I'm not a big fan of the euro either. Though I'm not, not a fan of the dollar, not a fan of the euro. Whenever I take a currency pair and consider trading it, I'll give you guys a quick example. So euro USD, right? If I do my analysis on the euro and I say, I'm sort of bearish, and then I do my analysis on the US dollar and I say, I'm sort of bearish. If I'm bearish on both of these, I probably won't trade Euro USD because I'd prefer to trade something where I am bullish on one and bearish on the other. And because that's where theoretically, if I'm right in my analysis, that's where some serious trends can develop. If you have a really strong currency versus one that is really weakening, that's where you can have a very strong trend either up or down, right? So for me, the Euro USD is not really my favorite place to trade right now. Though I will do some analysis for those of you guys who do trade it. Of course, this is just my analysis here. I can be right, I can be wrong. You may not agree with everything I say, and you might have a different strategy than me, and that's totally fine. I'm just here sharing my thoughts. So, Euro USD, at least from a technical analysis perspective, seems to have found a short-term bottom at the very least. We did find a lot of strength there here down at 1.177. You had 1.177. I want to make sure I'm saying that right. So I found some support here, right? And then formed also some higher lows coming into this market. So if you're watching euro dollar, again, we have a lot of news around the corner for the dollar. You have NFP this week, so that could be market moving for the euro as well. So keep an eye on that. In terms of technical analysis, I think that if you are bearish on the euro dollar, if you think that this thing is headed lower, one thing to keep in mind would be this 38.2% retracement. If you draw on the daily chart, you can see it a little bit better. Take a look at the daily chart. You can see if we drew from the top of that move there back in May down to our move here in mid-August, mid-July, down to this point, you have this fib that gets drawn in where you have the 38.2, the 50% retracement, and the 61.8. If you don't know much about fibs and you would like to learn about Fibonacci retracements, feel free to check out my video on that. You can just search up on YouTube, Trader Nick Fibonacci retracements, and I've got a video completely for free for you there. So I do like the idea of this 38.2% retracement, especially as it lines up with key resistance. So you had price come down really hard, break underneath, retest this area, and sell off, right? So if price is able to sort of rally up to that point again, you may see some sellers who want to sort of stubbornly try and hold that area. So I would keep an eye on that if you are watching the Euro USD. So again, 38.2% retracement on the daily chart looks interesting. Some of the lower time frame price action doesn't look too intriguing to me, just because, again, we've been very, very slow on this pair. Not a lot of movement recently. Saw a little bit of move to the upside there, but for the most part, sort of just trailing slowly higher here. So I do think that if we do get up to somewhere like the 38.2, like I said, you may see a little bit of sell pressure come in. But then keep an eye on that. If you are bullish on the euro dollar, if it has the strength, if we get something really, really, bearish for the dollar this week in NFP, if we have very disappointing numbers, you could see Euro USD rally past that level. So that's another point. If you are a breakout trader, maybe you see something like this towards the end of the week. Again, that would have to be coming off of USD, most likely bearish news in terms of jobs, right? So less jobs created than expected, or higher unemployment claims, something like that, that could be bearish for the dollar. Of course, I don't know what the numbers are going to be. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm a trader, so I don't have foresight knowledge of what's going to happen in the markets, unfortunately. But if you do see jobs numbers come out really poor or really negative for the dollar, this would be, to me, a key spot to watch for potential breakouts. Like I said, that would be off of very bearish weak dollar or US job numbers to consider. Okay. Next up is going to be GBP USD. Now, pound dollar, I do have a position on, a very small position, but a position nonetheless. We'll take a look at this on the hourly. So I did take a long position here on the pound after price retested this zone. Sent this out to traders inside of our Discord. So we'll see if this one wants to hold. I do still have my trade on here, and my stop loss is still pending down there. So I'll explain a little bit of my reasoning here behind the trade. The best way to do that would be for me to probably pull up my trade from Discord. So we have a Discord where I share every trade that I take. So I use my journal in Discord as like a way for me to sort of share my thoughts and ideas for every trade that I take, including my entries, my stop losses, etc. So I said I'm picking up some pound dollar here, as I had talked about a little on stream on that day. I like this upper channel and willing to take a small position, risking just 40 pips should price fall out of the channel. And then from a technical analysis standpoint, talking about the overall trend line to the upside, a retest of major support, and the bottom of a rising channel here. So it looked really clean, decided to go long there on GBP USD, entered into my position, shared the alert with members there inside of our Discord. And then I also shared a little extra detail that I forgot to mention originally, which was that if you looked at retail sentiment, it's kind of hard to see it here, but you can just trust me. There was like a very high level of retail traders who were short on the pound dollar, which sort of was an added effect to why I wanted to get long on this currency pair. So when you have lots of retail traders shorting the pound, the interesting factor there is that we know that most retail traders are out there losing their money, unfortunately, right? And so that's just a statistic or a fact that you can kind of use to your advantage in some ways as a trader. So if I know that most traders are over here shorting the pound dollar, right, then I most likely would like to be going long, not necessarily all the time, but it's an added extra benefit, right? To know that, okay, well, if most retail traders lose money and they're all shorting this thing, I probably don't want to be shorting it as well. I'd rather be long on it. So I ended up taking that long position, added that factor into my analysis for members, and then went long there on the pound dollar. So we'll see if this one wants to play out nicely. I'm up about $50 between I have two positions here. It's kind of hard to see, but about $50 there on the trade. So we'll see if that can go anywhere. If not, we'll just we'll look to move on from that trade. But that's where I'm at with it. We will see with what happens with the pound dollar. If you're not already inside of the Discord and you would like to join it, by the way, if you just saw what I just put up on the screen, you're like, hey, where is that Discord? There is information to sign up on our website. There's a link down below in the description. It is the first link there for you to sign up if you would like to. So check it out down below in the description. If you use the code, you get 25% off of your membership. So check it out. Use that code if you would like to join us. Again, I like the idea here of this zone. So pound dollar to me is still looking bullish. We'll see if it continues. If I'm wrong, I'll take a small loss, no big deal. And if I'm right, hopefully we can see a continuation up to maybe the previous high. If not, maybe even form a higher high. That's really what I'd be looking for with this position that I'm in. I had somebody say recently on my streams, Nick, you never show your trades on stream, but I do show them. It's just I don't take like 100 trades a day. I'm pretty selective in my trades. So if I take a trade, if I take a trade every day, that would be a lot for me, right? I'm not a day trader. So for me, swing trades can take 1 day, they can take 5 days, they can take 10 days. So I might only take, in a week, I might only take 1 or 2 trades. But those are trades that I sort of really do my homework on. And I try and, obviously with every trade I take, try and take the best trades that I possibly can. So that's the pound dollar. I do like the idea of more upside there for the pound. So that's the thought. What is your order when looking for to take a trade? Fundamental, technical, sentiment, sort of a combination of all three, Brandon. So if I'm going to take a trade, I have to sort of see all of them align to some degree. Not necessarily sentiment. I would say sentiment is sort of a bonus. A lot of times people say like, oh, well, they're all going short, I'm just absolutely going to go long. But I think that there's a little bit more to it, right? I think that it's not as easy as just fade all the retail traders all the time. I don't think that is enough. But for me, a healthy mix of fundamental and technical is really what I'm looking for. And then sentiment analysis is just an added, confluence factor for my trades. So again, every trade that I take, I share the full details inside of the Discord. So if you do have interest in joining us, you can see the trades that I am taking, as well as Frank's trades and Patrick's trades inside of our private Discord. So check it out. Link down below in the description. With that said, the pound dollar, if we do get going here, if we do still see continued bullishness for, hopefully for the next few weeks, a first stop could be a move up to somewhere like this, 1.4, right? So 1.4 is sort of a main zone of interest for me. for starters, if we're going to be watching the pound. From there, there is, of course, the high of the year, which I think could come back into play if the pound gets strong, right? If we really see a pound rally, or more likely, if we really see a dollar weakness play come into factor, you may see, the dollar weak for a month or so. If that happens, that very well could happen a lot sooner than people might imagine. So I'm keeping an eye on that with the pound dollar. So I do like that potential. I think the risk to reward is pretty good, especially when I talked about this the last few times. You had these lower highs coming into the market, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and then you formed this higher high, right? That higher high was enough from a technical analysis perspective, combined with my fundamental bias on the pound and the dollar, to sort of get long. So again, we will see if this trade wants to play out. It's not something that I if I show a trade here, it doesn't mean, I'm guaranteeing it's going higher. It's just my setups and my analysis on this. So I think we have some potential for some upside in the pound. We'll see if I'm right. We'll see if I'm wrong. Next up is going to be dollar yen. We'll take a look at USD JPY here. Look at this chart, you guys, breaking through. The dollar is really looking weak against the yen here, as we see this thing coming in with a fresh low here today on a Tuesday, coming in, breaking through the lows. If you've been watching this pair with me, then you know that we've talked about this level multiple times. We talked about the fact that this zone of support was a huge level for the bulls. And to see it breaking underneath that and closing today, that will be the question. Can we close underneath that level? That could signal some further downside here for the USD JPY. Very, very interesting, because what you'll notice is that, again, this level has not been broken for, we haven't been under these levels since, really since back in May. So if price is able to peak out here, you may very well have seen the high there for dollar yen for a while, putting in those lower highs. Now the question is, can we form that lower low and even maybe see some continuation there for the dollar yen south? Really, really interesting to see that today. If you are watching this pair, I think from a fundamental perspective, this one is tricky because you have a weakening dollar, a strengthening yen, and sort of the concept of, a little bit of risk off sentiment coming into the markets recently, which sort of really does push this thing lower, right? When you have concerns around the Delta variant and you have concerns around recovery, what we've seen is this thing tends to move lower, right? And a big reason for that is that the yen is sort of this like safe haven, big currency that people tend to flock to when things are scary, right? You have the JPY. A lot of places around the world, a lot of people and companies and countries, they borrow the yen to go buy other things because of the low interest rate. The yen offers a negative 0.1% interest rate. So it's actually advantageous to go borrow money from Japan and take it to other places to go buy stocks or to go buy real estate, right? So this happens regularly during market times that are positive. But if you have things that are scary in the world going on, like, for example, a potential, Delta variant situation, right? You may see that reverse, where people take their money and they sell their stocks and they go back, and what do they have to do? They have to buy back the yen. Real estate may see the same thing. Maybe people pull back off of their real estate investments and they go back to the yen. That can cause the yen to appreciate rapidly, right? So that's kind of what we're seeing here a little bit with the dollar yen. You're seeing people selling the dollar and moving back into the yen on a big scale, which is pushing us again underneath the lows today, which is a big deal from a technical analysis perspective as well. Where could we be headed with the dollar yen? Well, a couple levels come out to me. First stop seems like a potential move down to this level here at 108.5. And then if that breaks, you may even see moves back down to something like 107.6, which is really, really intense. But, again, when the dollar yen gets selling off, it can really move quickly. So couple levels of support there. In terms of resistance, if you're watching this on the lower time frames, maybe there's a chance here on the lower time frames during the intraday, charts, maybe the 1 hour, for this thing to do some retesting action, something like that, something where you see, the breakout, the retest, and maybe that's a chance to continue going with that sell-off here on the dollar yen. But again, very beautiful price action to the downside there, as people are favoring the yen at this time. due to probably some of the risk off sentiment that is coming into the markets. You've got a trend line here that looks really clean. And again, a major level of what was support now potentially acting as resistance for sellers. So keep an eye on this idea that looks very clean. If you are a dollar yen bear, may see some further downside here. Like I said, next real key spot of support to me looks like 108.5, which sort of makes sense because we're seeing this really quick sell-off. We may see that thing continue right on down to the low. We might not get a pullback at all. So a couple ideas there for you on the dollar yen. Looks bearish to me from a price action and fundamental perspective at this time. We'll have to watch it to see what's going on for, the rest of the week with jobs numbers on Friday for sure from the U.S. Do you trade stocks, Nick? Sort of. I mostly invest in stocks, but occasionally I will buy and sell a stock. But usually it's for multiple months for swing trades, things like that. I have the same question, Nick. How do you do your fundamental analysis? I'm always confused. Fundamental analysis is way harder, you guys, than technical analysis. The thing is about technical analysis is it's just lines and zones and stuff like that. It's fairly simple. I'm not going to say not simple, but it is fairly straightforward. Technical analysis is probably like most retail traders, like technical analysis, that's something that they all go to because it's like the easy concept. Oh, sell when the line or when the chart comes up to this line, right? But fundamental analysis is much trickier. It's much more to sort of digest when making a decision. You have to look at central banks and economic, monetary policies and global events that are going on and how they may impact markets. Fundamentals are way trickier. But hedge funds and institutions and big traders, they use fundamental analysis because that's the real world stuff that is really driving the price up or down. Right. So fundamentals are something that are a lot trickier. They're something that are not something you can just pick up from a quick YouTube tutorial. It takes a long time and a lot of work to really understand them. If you are not already inside of our group, we talk about fundamentals every day. It is something that drives most of the trades that, all the trades that I take, as well as Frank's trades. So if you're not already in there following along with some of our trades, that may be helpful to you. If you are looking for fundamental analysis, you can follow along with what we are talking about and read along with our ideas and research. Again, we also have a research section inside of our group where we basically share fundamental research that we are doing. But again, it's not something that you can just like, oh yeah, just do this and you'll know fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis is a constant, project. It is always a work in progress. There's always something changing in markets. And honestly, that's why I find it so interesting as well as just useful in terms of an analysis tool. So the best place, in my opinion, to get it is to truthfully follow along with us in Discord. But outside of that, we also post stuff on the website like a1trading.com. You can follow along with us there with some of our analysis there. But if you're not already inside of the Discord, like I said, check it out. There's a link and a promo code down below in the description if you would like to join us there. That's an option available to you. So all the trades that I take, like I said, they have to do with fundamental analysis and technicals as well. So if you're missing that in your trading and you would like to learn, like I said, we've got guides and all sorts of things available inside of our Discord that you can check out. If you're already a member with us, check out the education section in there. And there's some material that we've actually recently added all about fundamental analysis that could be very useful to you. So again, shout out to our members who are in the chat. Check that out if you have not already. We worked really hard on that this summer. We basically had 2 interns which wrote and designed our fundamental handbook, which is this like full-blown downloadable PDF that has like fundamental analysis, everything from COT reports to monetary policy to macro events and things like that. So if you're not already reading that, if you're a member, check it out, download it. And you can get it inside of the education portal available to members inside of the Discord. So there you go. Okay, next up is going to be gold. We'll take a look at XAU USD to see what is going on with this one. So gold here, sort of a mixed thing here. I'm still sort of on the sidelines with this because we're just back and forth. We're seeing a lot of mixed sentiment here with the gold market as we sit above the 1800 mark, but also below the 1830 mark. So we're just sort of sitting in no man's land here. I would love to see price either break above for continuation, or if the dollar gets strong, maybe we see some continuation to the downside. We're sort of in no man's land for me right now. So I don't have a a strong opinion as to where gold would go. If anything, I am biased to the upside due to my dollar weakness thesis that I've talked about on stream and also inside of the group. So I am bullish biased on the gold market, but I would like to see it confirm that with some form of a technical breakout or something like that. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one for sure, especially with jobs numbers coming out here, you guys. On Friday, we've got NFP, which has the potential to really move the market. So we will see what comes up with that. By the way, you guys, we have another show starting in about 30 minutes here with Ivan. I believe he's coming on today, which is really exciting because he's been missing, unfortunately, because he moved with his family to Kenya, which is really, really cool. And he had his wife, I think he had some family situation where they moved there, which is awesome. And he's really excited about it. And he's coming back on the show today. So I am so excited to have Ivan back on the show. So stay tuned for that. It's not going to be on this channel. It's going to be on our second channel. So I do want to just remind you guys, if you're not already, follow us on our secondary YouTube channel. We have more free webinars, content available for you. A1 Trading on YouTube and on Instagram. You can follow us at A1 Trading Team on Instagram, and you can also subscribe to our second channel. Again, we've got more shows going on today, so I don't want you to miss them. If you just got into the stream, you may not catch all of mine, but you can definitely catch Ivan's, which is starting in just a little bit here. So definitely check that out. Andrew says, "Yay, Ivan!" Yeah, he's coming back. I'm really happy that he's back. He had a little bit of a moving time, so he was moving to Kenya. I think he's starting to get all set though, so should be good to go and back to have him in here. So again, you can catch Ivan on the next show starting in 30 minutes. But yeah, so gold for me, like I said, it's sort of in no man's land here for now. We'll watch to see if it can break out. What about NZD USD? We talked about this one or wanted to talk about this one today due to the situation with the Delta variant. This is sort of a mixed signal because you're seeing a little bit of strength on the NZD today, but also concerns around the Delta variant out in the Pacific. Especially out there in Australia. So where are we at with this one? Well, let's see. We are sitting at resistance. We're seeing if price is able to hold the gains here, or if it's gonna dip back down. We are also forming a nice little series of higher lows here. It's a very ugly trend line, but there it is. You got a little bit of a higher low, but in the grand scheme of things, you still see this thing in a pretty decisive downtrend, right? So again, you've got this situation where there's a loosely drawn downward trend line, just this concept of lower highs coming in here. Question is, can we hold this for the sellers? Sellers are probably looking to roll over here on NZD USD and see price break underneath. Very much going to depend on what happens with the US dollar this week, as the US dollar is in focus on Friday with jobs numbers coming out. So a couple things to watch out for. I think that the NZD USD and AUD USD are very, very neutral for me because I am bearish on the dollar, but also sort of bearish on the Aussie and the NZD. So let's look at AUD USD as well while we're talking about it. AUD USD really, really struggling, still towards the lows here on this pair. A very weak higher lows coming in here on the Aussie. Now, this one has been really struggling because of their exposure to the Delta variant over there in Australia. They've been really dealing with that situation again, and that has the potential to slow down the economy. They have talked about lockdowns. They've been doing all sorts of stuff to combat the virus, and as we know, that tends to be scary for markets as well. So I would watch out if I'm watching this thing. One thing that I like is the idea of a breakout of this week uptrend, right? I would love to see that breakout for continued downside for the AUD USD. I think it has potential to go lower there. Should we still see things develop on the lockdown situation? Here's Aussie yen as well. The Aussie yen still seeing a lot of bearishness there, already sort of breaking out of that slight counter trend that we saw forming. You can see this thing is still dominated by the bears at this time. It does look like it has more sell side to it, at least in my opinion. So where do we go? Well, the first stop, of course, to me would be a retest of support down there at the bottom of the trend. Probably headed there. That's just, again, just my opinion. I could be right. I can be wrong. Please don't take my word as law. I'm not a fortune teller. Things can change in markets. It's more about risking properly than it is about always being right on direction. So with me, the Aussie yen looks like a potential move back down to the lows. If we were able to break underneath that, there may be continuation plays, even continuing to sell that Aussie until things clear up on the lockdown situation. That's what I'm thinking there. Do I trade commodities, orange juice or coffee? No, I don't trade futures very much. I do trade gold occasionally, but that is about it. US 30? Sure. We'll take a look at US 30. Why not? US 30 here. US 30 selling off a little bit here, a little bit of fear on the market side. You can see we chopped around for quite a bit there, still maintaining the overall uptrend, especially after that recent dip. You can see, not much hesitation there from the bulls to just right on push this thing back up. So it does seem like bulls are around the corner on every dip here for the stock market. You can see holding this 100-day moving average beautifully, right? So for the time being, we're sort of just chopping back and forth. There's not too much to go off of here. If we do dip back, honestly, bulls would probably like to see this thing break out to see a higher push, because we did get the retracement, but then we didn't make much progress above that level. Again, back down to the 4-hour chart, and you could see we did rebound very quickly, but we didn't quite get any follow through, right? We saw here was the high. We saw price shoot down, shoot back up, and then just pause in that zone. So for the bulls out there, I'd be waiting to see if maybe there's a breakout above the previous high. That could be a big signal for more Dow Jones strength. But for now, sort of just in a channel. If you're watching this thing closely, it does seem like we're at the bottom of this little channel, tight channel here today on the 4-hour view. You may see another dip if this thing does start to break out to the downside. But personally, I don't like to bet against the stock market just because it is quite strong right now. So anytime the market's in a dominant uptrend, I tend to stay away or shy away from shorts on it. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of the market. Maybe if you see another dip, there's an opportunity to look for buys, but not my favorite chart here at the time being. With that said, guys, I'm going to wrap up the stream. If you did enjoy, do me a big favor and hit that like button and subscribe down below. I know a lot of you guys who watch my content, check right now. You may not even know it, but a lot of you guys who watch my stuff are not yet subscribed. If you subscribe to my channel, YouTube will start recommending more free trading content to you, which may be in your best interest if you're trying to improve as a trader. It's up to you, of course, but if you would like to, feel free to subscribe to the channel down below. Thanks so much for being here today. You guys are the best. And hope to see some of you guys in the community. Hope says that can't wait to join your community. Well, I'm glad that you'll be joining us. If you guys would like to see the trades that I am taking, as well as join our chat rooms and join our webinars that are available to members, see our fundamental research, see our, like I said, the chat rooms, the trade ideas being shared, and all sorts of other good stuff, our educational portal as well. All of those things are available inside of our private Discord. If you like the channel, if you'd like to support the content I'm putting out, feel free to join our company's Discord here. This is managed by myself and our team of people here in Atlanta, Georgia. We've got an office and a full staff that manage this. So again, if you're looking to join us inside of Discord, if you're looking for a community of traders to join, now is your chance to do so. There's a link down below in the description. You can sign up with that code and get a discount to join the Discord for supporting the YouTube channel. So thank you so much, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Hope you stay safe in the markets, and we will see you back next time.
I know you were expecting Nick, but my name's Julie, and I do the real work around here. I wanted to take a second to thank you guys for watching the show and tell you more about some free content that we offer. One of the things that we offer is a free email newsletter. So if you click the link down below, you can sign up for free market analysis, trading tips, and exclusive offers. Every once in a while, someone here at A1 Trading takes a crazy trade, and you'll be the first one to know about it. See you guys next time.